Hey friends, it's Laura, Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome and welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. Today we are going to talk about some organization. So one of the comments I get quite often is that you guys like to see things to get organized, and you're always commenting on how organized I seem to be with some of the projects that I do. And I do have to say, I do like being organized. I like having a plan. I like making things easier on myself. I actually like to say my future self is going to thank me. So all of the time that I put in to prep a project definitely pays off in the long run. And I want to help you a little bit with that too. So one of the things we as quilters and crafters do as we make stuff, right? But the thing is, sometimes you want to remember, when did you make that stuff? How did you make that stuff? What did you use? Who was it for? Where did it go? All of those things are questions that have come up for me. And then with my quilts, there are times down the road that I want to enter them into a quilt show, and I don't remember what fabric it was or who I made it for or where it went or when I made it or anything. And sometimes the quilt show groups want to know that information. So you need a way to keep track of all of that stuff. And I'm just going to be honest and tell you, I am the worst at putting labels on my quilts, but I can keep all of that information in a nice little planner. And every year, that's what I do. I make myself a little quilting planner. And inside that, I have sheets. I can write down all about the project, all about the fabrics, when it was made, how it was made, patterns used, designers referenced, etc., etc., etc. And that information can come in so handy if you start putting your quilts into shows. Now, you could do the same thing for any craft that you're doing. Maybe you're making birthday cards and you want to keep track of, who did I send a birthday card to last year? Or did they send me a Christmas card? Do I need to send Christmas cards? All of that stuff can be addressed in some sort of a planner that you put together for yourself. Now, in the description box down below, I have shared my own PDF for my quilting planner. Inside that, you're going to find a few little cheat sheets that help you figure out how much yardage you need for different types of quilts. You also have some half square triangle cheat sheets. There's a cheat sheet that shows you how much fabric you need to create your own charm pack or layer cake or jelly roll. There's all types of information in that PDF, so make sure you go ahead and download that if you're interested. And then just use what you want and discard the rest. It's no big deal. Maybe there's just one page in there that you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was looking for. And if that's what works for you, then that's great for me. So like I said, description box down below is a link to the PDF of what I'm going to be putting into this quilting planner. But today, that's what we're going to create. We're creating a quilting planner. We're going to use a couple different things. I'm going to give you a couple different ideas on ways to finish it, just in case you don't have what I have. So the first thing we're going to do, and I've already done this, you print out that PDF, and then we're going to cut it, put it together, and put it into a spiral bound booklet. So let's head on over to the cutting table so we can get all of our quilting planner stuff together. Okay, so here are our sheets. I just cut them in half. Again, you can download this PDF in the description box down below. So like I said, we have different pages in here. Let's just go through here real quick so you can see what you can expect. I have some quilt sizes up here. Now, I know that quilt sizes kind of vary depending on who you're talking to, but this is kind of the rough draft that I go with. We also have a yardage cheat sheet. So if you need to know how many inches are in an eighth of a yard, this will quickly tell you. You can just say 4.5 inches is 1/8 of a yard. And then these are also bolded so you can see how many inches are in the different measurements. All right, so we also have a pre-cut fabric size right here, and you can see right here that the mini charm squares, how big each one of those are. Maybe you don't know how big a fat quarter is, so I have that in the table for you as well. Now these charts are only on one side because this is going to be our first page in the book, and I wanted that to be blank. You can doodle. All right, so the next page is charm squares to a quilt top. So let's say I know I have 80 charm squares. Well, how big of a quilt can I make with that? Well, 80 charms will give me 8 by 10, which will give me a 36 by 45 inch quilt. So you can quickly see how big of a quilt you can get depending on the charm squares that you have to work with. I also have a quilt size for straight block setting. So if you have 9, 10, or 12 inch blocks, you can see how many you need for a certain type of quilt. You can do this a couple different ways. Let's say you know you have 40 blocks and they're 9 inch. Well, that's how big the quilt's going to be. Or let's say I need a 96 by 96 with a 12 inch block. I can look down here and go over and say, oh my, I need to make 64 blocks. So here's a couple different ways to use that chart. Another sheet that's in there is pre-cut pack conversions. So if you want to create your own charm pack, mini charm pack, layer cake, or jelly roll, it tells you exactly how much fabric you need and how many strips you can expect to get out of each length of fabric. I also have a cheat sheet in there for a layer cake to a quilt top. Same thing as with the charm pack, but this time it's the 10-inch squares, not the 5. On the back of that is a half square triangle sheet. Now, when I put these together, what I'm going to do, just because I want my stuff to kind of be together in a good order, my first page is backwards, blank is the first page, and then the quilt sizes is the second sheet. Then I have my quilt size for straight block setting. If I turn that page, it's going to be the charm squares for the quilt top, the layer cake to quilt top, half square triangles, and those mini pack or those pre-cut pack conversions is the last page. And then this one is also blank. And this is because if you only want these, then that's fine. If your printer doesn't print double-sided, then you won't have to worry about this as much as I did. The next part of the booklet is the one sheet that I use probably the most throughout the year, and that is for my completed projects. So if I just need a quick reference on just the bare bone basics of a quilt, this is where I put it. The project name, the project name, who it's for, when I began it, when the top was pieced, when it was quilted, how many stitches, because my brother loves me and he keeps track of how many stitches I put in each quilt, the pattern I used, the size, a quilting design, and then the binding when it was completed. So I have that. There's 4 of these on each page. And I think there are enough for 48 of those in the booklet and the PDF that I have linked down below. And then in addition to that, I also have a project tracker sheet. So if you would rather keep track of your projects on a bigger sheet and you have more information, maybe you have some swatches to add or you have some notes you want to add in, maybe you want to keep track of your time. All of that information could be tracked on the project tracker sheet. And this is for an individual project. So like I said, I use this a lot because it's more of a comprehensive overview of my projects. But if there's something special I'm working on, I definitely go ahead and fill out this project tracker. Now, I believe I've given you enough of these, and obviously you can print as many as you want. I believe in the PDF itself, there are 20 of these that you can print out to have in your booklet. All right, so I have all of that in my booklet. And then for my cover, I've just printed out on some cardstock a cute little My Quilting Planner. And this is actually my Guild Star down here. I don't have this included in the PDF. You'll have to come up with your own cover. I do have a front and back cover to this. I'm going to be using a spiral binding tool that I have. But if you don't have one of those, an easy, quick finish to this is just a hole punch 3 or 4 holes through all of these layers and put yourself some library rings through it. And it's going to serve the same purpose and you're going to be very happy with the result. It will keep it together and it'll be easy to lay flat. You can move pages around. And in some ways, the library rings may be a better option for you than doing a spiral binding just because you are able to move the pages around at will pretty easily and quickly with those library rings. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some covers. I have some acrylic sheets that I'm going to use just for my front and back. And then they're clear acrylic, so I can still see my cute little cover. And it's going to provide the book a little more protection. So let me get those cut, and then we're going to start putting it together. All right, so for whatever reason, these sheets are not 8.5 by 11. So I will need to cut them down to the correct size. So I'm going to cut this at 5.5, and there are 2 sheets here. Because I am using 8.5 by 11 paper. So my sheet here is 8.5 by 5.5. And then these will go onto my booklet on the front and the back. All right, so you can't really see it, but there is a cover here. This is actually just scrap. I may save it for some little notebooks or something, but I'm just going to put it to the side for right now. Okay, you guys may remember that I did demonstrate this machine a little while back. It is a coil binding machine. I have played with it enough to feel somewhat comfortable with it. This is going to give me a great opportunity to get more comfortable with the machine. Okay, so I can only do so many sheets at a time, so I have about half of the booklet. I'm going to just pull it down to punch all the holes. That's why this guide is really, really important, because it allows you to line all of your booklet pages up. Now I can put these back together. I'm going to use a couple binding clips just to hold this together. And this is just going to help me make sure all the holes are lined up and they don't move. Nothing moves out of place on me when I start to put my spiral binding in. Now remember, if you do not have a spiral binding machine, you are not out of luck. You can definitely print this out, hole punch it, put it in a little binder, or like a 3-ring binder, or use those library rings like I said. And in fact, I'll show you one of my binders that I have so you can get another idea for this instead of if you don't have the spiral binding. All right, per the instructions, we are going to get the first few holes started. And it's just a matter of moving these through. I like to go about 1 inch. Now, honestly, I could go ahead and twirl this whole thing through and it would be fine, but this is going to be faster. So we're going to turn the machine on. Just like that. And just like that, we have our notebook bound. We'll take our clips off of here now. Just a couple more things we need to do. One of the things I like to do is I go ahead and I went a little further than the end of the notebook here. So I like to go ahead and just have a couple little spirals there, because you have this little tool that you'll crimp with. And just in case it doesn't crimp right the first time, then I have another chance to crimp it right. Alrighty, and then we need to crimp the other end as well. So now both of these ends are crimped. When I move this, it won't come out because it's in there. And then I can have my little quilting planner all ready for use. So this is so super fun and easy, you guys, if you have the spiral binding machine. If not, let me show you a couple other options. Okay, I started using the little quilting planners just like this a few years ago, and I actually printed out the pages, and I went back in my 3-ring binder and pulled them out and did a spiral binding for them. It's really kind of helpful. I usually put the year on the front of my book too. That way, if I'm looking for a specific project, I can go back to that year, or at least the time frame. So maybe your book goes over 2 years, or maybe it's only 6 months, however it works out. That way you can kind of have them in chronological order and you can find your projects. But if you don't have a spiral binding tool, it's fine, because check this out. I have the same sheets in this book right here, but it's in a 3-ring binder. So all you have to do is print them out, punch out your holes, put them in a binder, and it is good to go. This is, again, it's an 8.5 by 5.5 inch binder. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box down below in case that's the option you want to go with. The other option that I would suggest is you can use just some library rings, which that's what these are. And they just open up, and then you would just simply slip them through the holes on your planner, and that way you can keep all your pages together and you can easily switch them around if you want to. Either that or the binder would be a great alternative if you don't have a spiral binding tool, to keep your pages together and be able to move them around at will. So those are a couple different options that you could use if you don't have a spiral binding tool. I don't expect you guys to go out and buy one of those just for this little project, but they do make really cool gadgets to have on hand in case you get into some junk journals or cookbooks for families or whatever. But anyway, here is my quilting planner. It's all spiral bound. It's ready to use, and I am going to be one organized girl. I'm so excited about this. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to just get a little organized with your quilting or other crafts. Maybe you want to change some wording up inside of these pages and use it for scrapbooking or card making or, I don't know, crochet and knitting, whatever you do, whatever your thing is. It's always nice to have a little booklet, a little planner that you can go and find and reference to the projects that you've made in the past. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you have ideas or suggestions on pages that you would add into your own planner, put those down in the description box too. Don't forget that PDF is there for you, free, no worries. Please feel free to download it and use it at will. I hope you find it useful and I hope it helps you get organized. Until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating. And remember, it's always better when you make stuff up.